Hello and welcome to Global News Factory. I'm your host Vikrant. Bashing the US and its sanctimonious rules-based order. The gift that keeps on giving. And yes, all it takes is common sense. The same common sense India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar has been serving on a silver platter while Western diplomats choke on their hypocrisy. Let's break down the drama. The US, Trump and his chorus boys, love whining that India is profiteering off Russian oil. They claim India buys crude from Moscow, refines it, slaps a markup, and then resells it. And suddenly, that is a moral crime. The outrage is louder than a CNBC anchor on election night. But here is the obvious question. Who buys that refined oil? Aliens? Martians? No, it is the same holier-than-thou EU nations screeching about Russia while quietly slurping Russian oil with an Indian label. These countries deliberately wrote this loophole into their own sanctions. The loophole is crude is banned, but refined oil magically becomes non-Russian. This was not an accident, it was a scam by design. So Europe could keep the cheap Russian energy flowing without admitting it. And now they are suddenly having a problem with India. Please, that is like ordering contraband and blaming delivery guy for smuggling. And Jaishankar, he did not just respond, he slapped the hypocrisy straight out of Washington's face with one sentence.
Look, it's funny you have people who work for a pro-business American administration accusing other people of doing business. If you have a problem buying oil from India, oil or refined products, don't buy it. Nobody forced you to buy it. But Europe buys, America buys. So you don't like it, don't buy it. So you don't like it, don't buy it.
That is not diplomacy, that is a mic drop. For those in the back row of Foggy Bottom who still do not get it, let's spell this out. The West's outrage is not about morality. It is about control. They hate it when someone outside their clique makes money while playing by rules the West itself wrote. They need India's cheap refined oil, but they also need to virtue signal about isolating Russia. And that is why the whining.
So you don't like it, don't buy it.
And the numbers are brutal. 253,788%. That is not a typo, that is the jaw-dropping rise in India's petroleum exports to Europe over the past 7 years. 15 to 17 European countries consistently rank among India's top petroleum buyers. Let's name and shame these moral crusaders. We have UK on the list, UK, France, Romania, Switzerland, Spain, Italy, Belgium, Slovenia, Greece, and Ukraine itself. Germany, Portugal, all of them at one point or another have happily guzzled Indian refined Russian oil while lecturing the world about sanctions and democracy.
So you don't like it, don't buy it.
And now Peter Navarro, Trump's trade whisperer, has joined the choir. Well, he claims India's Russian crude trade is entirely unnecessary. Well, Peter, going by that logic, it is not necessary for you or Europe to buy oil from India either. But you still do. And that is what we call hypocrisy with a capital H. Jaishankar's dare is pure brilliance. He is not begging for approval. He is challenging the West and Europeans to walk the talk. If you really believe in your own propaganda, stop buying this oil from India. Cut yourselves off. Freeze in the winter. Pay double or even 4 times for US LNG. Because underneath the noise, Europe and the US know they need India's refining capacity to keep their economies running and industries humming. And that is the beauty of it. For all their bullying, sanctions, and chest thumping, the so called rules based order bends when reality hits their wallets. India is simply holding up the mirror, and the reflection is not pretty. Moving on. How do you deal with a bully? You don't cry. You cut off his oxygen. Or in China's case, you turn off the rare earth tap and watch him squeal. Beijing just gave us a masterclass. It did not shout, it did not send angry tweets. It simply announced export restrictions on magnets back in April. One quiet move, boom, panic in Washington. Because here is the kicker, those magnets are the lifeblood of America's tech, energy, and defense industries. Without them, half of Trump's Make America Great Again toys do not even switch on. And Trump's reaction? Oh, it is pure cinematic gold. He literally whined. I'm quoting, "They have to give us magnets." You could almost hear the heartbreak, like a lovesick teenager after his crush said no. She has to say yes to me. Sorry, Don, magnets do not do arranged marriages.
And I'm sure you can go, but we're going to have a great relationship with China. I mean, it's happening. You see it. It's happening. They have some cards. We have incredible cards, but I don't want to play those cards. That would, if I played those cards, that would destroy China. I'm not going to play those cards.
If I played those cards, that would destroy China. I'm not going to play those cards.
Oh, well, clappings for this. Sure, buddy. Last time you played your cards, Trump, China caught you by the tariffs. And spoiler, they are still holding on. In this trade war, Beijing has the ultimate trump card. Literally. China controls 90% of the global magnet supply. That is not a number, that is a chokehold. Magnets, they're used in everything from fighter jets to smartphones to EVs. Without them, the West's tech economy is toast. Trump got a taste of that pain during his tariff tantrums, but he keeps forgetting it. Maybe the dementia jokes are not just for Biden anymore. What makes it even funnier is Beijing's official excuse for the export restrictions. They borrowed the West's favorite bedtime story, international rules-based order. On June 7th, China's Ministry of Commerce said rare earths items are dual use, military and civilian, and therefore export controls are perfectly legal and in line with global norms. Translation: we learned it from watching you, Uncle Sam. And this is why it is hilarious. For years, the US and EU slapped sanctions and called it rules based. Now China does the same thing, and suddenly Trump sounds like a kid crying for his toy magnets back. Bullies always think they are untouchable until someone flips the script. Now China did not scream, it did not plead, it just shut the tap and left Trump gasping. And that is how you deal with a bully, with quiet power, not loud threats.
If I played those cards, that would destroy China. I'm not going to play those cards.
Moving on. Two headlines, same country, two different planets. On one side, Britain heading towards IMF bailout. This is from Telegraph, the newspaper of the British establishment itself. On the other, UK security expert explains how Putin has really lost badly already in Ukraine. You see the comedy here? The British economy is coughing blood on a ventilator. But sure, it is Russia that has lost. Let's take a reality check. The UK today is flirting with its worst nightmare since 1976. Back then, a Labour government had to crawl to the IMF for an emergency bailout after inflation and deficits went nuclear. It was humiliating. It destroyed the government. It scarred a generation. Fast forward nearly 50 years, the ghosts of 76 are back. Britain's debt now sits at 96% of GDP. That is a staggering 2.7 trillion pounds. Debt interest payments over 100 billion pounds. The budget gap about 50 billion pounds. These are not abstract numbers. This is London staring at the possibility that it may not even meet basic pension and welfare obligations. Jagjit Chadha, an actual economist, warned that the UK's outlook is as perilous as the period leading up to the IMF loan of 1976. Translation: Britain may soon be begging the IMF again, cap in hand. And how does the UK respond to this mess? Guess what? By pledging even more military spending. Now, in the next 2 years, they want to raise it to 2.5% of GDP. Billions more are going to Ukraine because apparently, when your own economy is collapsing, the best way to fix it is to ship weapons to Kyiv. Now, let's look at the economy of this loser, Russia, they keep talking about. Inflation around 9%, interest rates 18%. Sounds scary? Except Russian wages are rising faster than inflation. Russians with savings are making fat returns in their bank accounts. And here is the paradox Western experts hate. Despite a brutal war, the living standards of an average Russian have hit their highest level in a decade. Now, serious problems for Russia might come only if energy revenues collapse and India and China stop buying Russian oil. But newsflash, that is not happening, ever. India and China are buying more, not less. Moscow's energy machine is humming. Meanwhile, Britain is having a 1970s flashback. High debt, ballooning deficits, a currency under pressure, a government making promises it cannot afford. But sure, Putin has already lost badly. Maybe if London keeps sending tanks and missiles to Ukraine, its industries will magically revive. Maybe pouring billions into NATO adventures will calm the bond markets. Maybe shouting at Moscow will bring down those scary debt interest payments. The UK's problem is not Putin, the UK's problem is UK itself. The delusion that it is still an empire, delusion that it can bankroll foreign wars while its own economy is on life support, delusion that you can call someone else a loser while you are standing in line outside the IMF. So who has really lost badly? The country with rising wages and a surplus of energy? Or the country praying it does not become a historical meme about the 1970s all over again? And that is all for now. Thank you very much for being with me. You're watching GNF.